2 days ago, I uploaded this video where I talked about how I went from Grandmaster to Gold. The other 96% was everyone else going through the exact same problem. The point is, the mass majority feels the exact same way. The matchmaking is bad.
Going from Grandmaster to Gold is a really far drop. I decided to go to your stream and find one of your most recent games where you're in Platinum 2, I believe. Now, this is not meant to come at you as a roast or to mock you in any way at all. Right now, the very first thing that I'm noticing is that you are a DPS who's not up on the high ground, and you're not contesting any of the off angles. And the one thing that DPS especially need to do is take those angles so that way they can try and deny cover from the enemy team. That Namor flanking is exactly what I'm talking about. He was able to walk through the bottom on an off angle completely uncontested, while everyone else was pumping damage into the two tanks, which is exactly what the tanks want you to do. You went to try and make a play with your ult to see if you can't reclaim some of that space. It wasn't a bad idea, it unfortunately just didn't give you the impact that your team really needed. After pushing the enemy team off of the point though, you turn back around and you see Venom and Namor once again on the flank. This is now the second time that you've witnessed that Namor on your flank, and this should be your sign that you need to contest those off angles because he's going to keep doing that. In this moment, you're calling for more damage, but that's not the problem. So far throughout the entire first point, most of your damage has just gone to the tanks, and the tanks haven't been dying. They are absorbing all of your attention, your resources, and they're keeping you distracted from noticing what the enemy DPS are doing to your team.
Why is Namor on my butt?
You ask why is Namor on your butt, but he's been flanking all game. You should know that this is what he's doing because this is the third time now that you've seen him on the flank.
Why is no one pushing?
If you were paying attention, both of your tanks fell. You now have no front line and no ability to control space, meaning that the very next target the enemy team was going to focus was definitely going to be you. The Namor is being proactive about his plays. He is trying to find an angle to apply pressure and pincer your team and to do more efficient damage. The more you keep focusing on pumping damage into the tanks, the more you're just helping the enemy team. The tanks want you to look at them. The tanks want you to look at them. They want you to use their resources on them. Because the moment that you do that, an enemy DPS now sees that as an opportunity to attack because he knows you don't have your resources and you're not looking. This is why it's been so easy for the enemy team to farm you guys all game. The moment you walked out of spawn, you immediately should have gone up top to see if he was up there. I want you to see that even though you didn't kill the Namor, you created the pressure and forced him to back up. This is still value. It would have been better if you could have gotten the kill, but still, the moment that you went over there and went that direction and created that pressure, your team was able to get a kill on the opposite end. This is because your team wasn't distracted by a Namor in the backline. That is how DPS players get good value. So you weren't contesting the Namor or the Hela who were off-angling on your team. You were charging the enemy support ults up and giving them the advantage, and your ultimates weren't getting value. This game, from my perspective, was most definitely not some sort of team diff. It definitely wasn't a problem of a lack of damage either. A lot of your target priority and decision-making didn't really make a whole lot of sense. You need to be able to contest those off-angles and stop enemy DPS from attacking your team, but also to be able to get an attack on the enemy team that's much more efficient. The matchmaking is not as big of an issue as people think that it is. There are many things in this game that you could have done differently to turn it around. I'm not saying you for sure would have won, but it definitely would have felt a lot closer.